Canada's great Pacific province is British Columbia, including Vancouver Island and many smaller islands. The Yukon Territory adjoins it on the north, extending to the Arctic Ocean. On the east are Alberta and Mackenzie. On the west, Alaska and the Pacific. And on the south, the American states of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. The Coast Range and the Rocky Mountains that extend northwestward to Alaska make this region extremely mountainous. On the humid mountain slopes are vast forests of commercial timber, and down the mountains flow many streams of great potential water power. The scattered farmlands lie in narrow river valleys, and the irregular coastline affords many excellent harbors. The largest cities of British Columbia are found along the Pacific coast. Sir Francis Drake first approached British Columbia from the Pacific in 1578-79. After 1700, Russian fur traders and Spanish explorers entered the region. George Vancouver in 1792, under authority of the British government, explored coastal waters. And the following year, Sir Alexander Mackenzie was the first European to cross the Rockies and enter the region from the west. The land remained largely unknown, however, until in 1858 gold was found along the Fraser River. Each symbol here represents 50,000 people. An influx of settlers followed the opening of the Canadian Pacific Railroad in 1885, and industrial expansion after 1900 caused a steady increase in population. Today, more than 800,000 people live in the region, mostly in the south. Pacific Canada attracts many tourists and new residents each year. The Trans-Canada from the Atlantic to the Pacific allows people from all parts of the world to enjoy the beauties of the scenery. Of special interest are the snow-clad Rockies. Great recreational parks offer the pleasures of camping and of fishing. Boating may be had on the quiet lakes, or there are the alpine sports, such as skiing and mountain climbing. In the sheltered valleys of British Columbia are scattered small fertile areas, land highly productive for farming and fruit growing. The irrigated orchards of the Okanagan Valley yield much of Canada's commercial fruit, apples being the chief crop. Of the millions of boxes produced annually, the largest portion is sent to other Canadian provinces. Hay, oats, and potatoes are also raised. On the less fertile intermountain plateaus, beef cattle are raised and great herds of sheep. In other areas not well suited to farming, poultry is kept. Most of these eggs are sent by ship to Alaska. Along the Pacific coast, the heavy rainfall and the mild climate make possible the region's vast forests. Vancouver Island alone furnishes more than one-half of the region's commercial timber. Unlike eastern Canada, logging continues throughout the winter, uninterrupted by ice or snow. As the upper parts of the river are broken by falls and rapids, the logs are generally taken by train to tidewater and then floated to the sawmills along the coast. The region produces about 50% of Canada's timber. Much of this goes to Vancouver and Victoria for export. The remainder is manufactured locally into timber products. From here comes much of the world's plywood. Laths and staves, poles and mining timbers are also produced. Nearly 65% of the forests are either inaccessible or not commercially profitable. Throughout the workable forests, trained foresters examine the trees and classify areas to determine the best use of the land. Other foresters are on constant watch in the effort to check the immense destruction caused by forest fires. Today, the region produces a variety of minerals. The great coal fields of Vancouver Island furnish coal for the Canadian Pacific coast. Gold, copper, silver, and lead are also extensively mined. Although mining here is still in its infancy, the region has already yielded over $1 billion worth of mineral products. These resources will probably increase in value as roads such as the new Alaska Highway penetrate the region. Air travel to these outposts is also important. The Pacific waters and rivers of British Columbia teem with salmon, halibut, and herring. The Skeena and Fraser rivers are the most notable of the fishing grounds. Each spring, when the salmon come up the rivers to spawn, they are caught in their thousands and sent to the nearby canneries. As much as 3/4 of each season's salmon catch is canned and exported. Tinned salmon is sent to all parts of the world. Salmon, herring, and other fish are also packed fresh in ice for use throughout Canada and the United States. The products of Pacific Canada are sent to the principal coastal cities, Victoria, Vancouver, New Westminster, Prince Rupert, where rivers, oceans, and railroads meet. These cities and manufactured goods for export. They process raw materials from the forests, fish and fish products from along the coast, and they receive produce from orchard and farm. Nearby mountain streams furnish the power for their manufacturing plants. To these cities, trains and ships also bring products from other parts of the Dominion, manufactured goods from the industrial provinces, foodstuffs from the prairie provinces. In the leading cities of the region are big industries, lumber mills, plants for smelting, and for slaughtering and processing meat. In recent years, a strong impetus has been given to shipbuilding, and British Columbia's extensive shipyards are among the world's best. In the harbors of the coastal cities are ships going to or coming from ports all over the world. They carry out fish, lumber products, minerals, and fruits. The coastal cities are famous too for their beautiful homes and gardens, and for their up-to-date schools. Although the Pacific region is young, it is developing rapidly and already holds a high place among the provinces of Canada.